Going live. Welcome, everybody. This is actually a career night, and you're tuning in from a podcast studio from my living room with our piano. I'm above the new Everbowl Plaza remodel in our office space. And we were going to have a career night tonight, but I thought it would be more fun if I just streamed this out to everybody to answer the question, what is place? Because obviously they're intrinsic to our business. You can see that they're embedded in our find your place within Discover Oregon Real Estate logo. And you've seen a lot of chatter about that. So we're going to tune in from our podcast studio here, courtesy of Head, Heart, and Boots podcast. Thank you very much for providing the space. And we actually have some live audience here to chime in with any questions. I want to go take you guys back to the beginning. So obviously, I put a tremendous amount of effort into launching our own brand. I hope you guys can see that okay. And you'll notice from the brand that, I can even zoom in here a little bit. This logo represents all of Oregon. Our goal to connect people all across the state of Oregon with their people and with their place, whether it be vendors or all things related to home ownership. And so we have this idea, within every season of Oregon, you can see the 4 seasons represented in these colors. The 3 sisters being kind of our iconic mountain range in the Cascades, also representing critical core values for me, faith, hope, and charity. And the sort of the topographical view of this being, the view actually over the Cascades, through the valley, all the way to the Oregon coast, this being the sun setting over the Oregon coast, that our hope is people would connect with this brand as something truly local. And yet we realized that for us to go where we wanted to go with our mission to facilitate the discovery of community, legacy, and adventure through real estate everywhere, that we were going to need to create some powerful synergies. Now, obviously, connection and collaboration are the 2 core pinnacle values for what we do. So if you're tuning into this, it's because you want to know a little bit more about what makes door, and also because you want us to answer this question of what is place. And if you're also tuning in because you want to learn more about what does a career look like in real estate, I think the answer to that question is so intimately decided by who you get into business with, because there's a lot of different kinds of doing real estate out there. There's a lot of part-time real estate agents that have found out that doing real estate is not that fun if you're out there as a solo. Now, there's the team sport approach to real estate, which is what we're going to be extrapolating today. And there's the business-driven platform of place that really turns this into a tried and true process rather than shooting in the dark. And so I'll talk a little bit about why we partnered with these guys in a little bit. Ben Kinney, if you're watching, love you, buddy. Chris Soares, freaking studs, probably some of the most well-respected leaders in the community. And I'll just share what drew me to working with the folks at Places, synergy and value. So for us, what we do is all determined by the 10 C's. And these are our unique definitions. Compassion means empathy and action. We're going to give back to our community. That's just a part of who we are. Clarity, making informed decisions, is how we want to show up for our clients or our agents. So if people are looking at getting into business with us, it's because they want to make an informed decision. They've gone through the process to get clear on their goals, get clear on their financials, and they see the value of actually synergizing. And upon reception into our world, you're going to find a huge amount of value for competence, sharpening this out every day. We are working to be better for our clients, better negotiators, better prospectors. We're finding off-market deals. We're putting things together that would not happen without us being informed on all the various kinds of financing available, even through Envoy, the company we own, but also through seller carried financing deals, through creative financing, through private financing. What we do is we are a factory of competence for people in the real estate industry, and candor means we're going to keep it real. If we don't have the answers, we're going to go find it. If we feel like the expectations are unrealistic, we're just going to tell you straight up. In direct line with candor is creativity. Sometimes you have to think out of the box. You've got to be okay honoring the inner artist. And that goes in line with curiosity, which means living in discovery. And that doesn't mean just taking a bunch of mushroom medicines out in the woods, but it's actually like putting curiosity to work every day in conversations with people, loving learning, loving the idea of every day I get to show up and I get to learn something new about somebody and lean into the discovery of how I might be able to be of service to them. And hopefully you guys can tell from my garish bolero tie or, some of my outlandish outfits that uh it's intentional. I like to be charismatic. My people like to be charismatic, and for us, that just means cultivating enthusiasm. I mean, the drips, that's one thing, but like truly, the idea of living with enthusiasm, not just going through the motions, but cultivating enthusiasm. That's how I would define charisma. That's how our team defines it, and ultimately, the core of what we do is helping people find their people and find their place. So community shows up in our value set. It shows up in our mission. And our vision is that we would be the company of choice, that we would help everyone we know own a home and build wealth through real estate. And growth is another acronym within our place organization of values like grit, results, only leaders, wealth building, teamwork, humility, that we've kind of plugged right there into our vision because we're growth minded people. So if you're looking at this list and you're like, oh my gosh, that's way too much. Snore. I'm not inspired at all. And I was like, well, we probably should start the conversation right now, because if you don't sense any kind of alignment with any of these values, whether you're a client, an investor, or an agent, then we're probably not the company for you. But if you find yourself drawn to any number of these, and the mission of facilitating the discovery of community, the discovery of legacy, and the discovery of adventure excites you, then let's keep talking. We're honored to be in business with Ben and Chris. These guys are legends in the industry, and they've solved a lot of amazing problems for agents and business owners. And really, they're our key to be able to actually follow through with our original mission to try to bring all things real estate in one place. We were never going to do that on our own, just as Door, but Door, powered by Place, is going to be the path where you're going to be able to see us provide a totally different level of service beyond even just real estate consulting. We're able to provide a real platform for your real estate lifelong goals. Speaking of goals, if you're an agent interviewing on our team, I like to always remind folks that it really doesn't matter what our goals are. Like, yes, we want to obviously be a commanding presence in Oregon, but anyone who's looking at joining in our world, it's because they've first gone through the work to get clarity around, what do you want to do? What do you want your business to actually net you? Now, in real estate, there's this challenge of gross income versus net income, and a lot of agents, might seem like they're making 100 grand if they just because they have 100,000 in gross commission income doesn't mean that's actually what they're netting. And I know from personal experience, having gone through the tax returns of many of these agents, that they're actually netting somewhere between 40 to maybe even as low as 10% of their actual gross income commissions going to their pockets because of cost of running a business. So that's why the goals of what you actually want to net, what you want your business to feel like, and ultimately the goal of business is to fund the perfect life. So what do you want that to translate to for your personal life, for your relationships, and for your health? It's really critical. Cautionary tale, pause. The antithesis of success is climbing to the top of a ladder, thinking that you arrived, but then once you get to the top, you look around and realize the ladder was leaning against the wrong building. And or you look behind you and you've left behind a wake of destruction among yourself or others, either whether it be in your personal health or the health of your relationships, that did not merit the expense or the trade-off at the top. So I will say this about real estate. It's not for the faint at heart. And unfortunately, candidly, if we're keeping it real, there is a lot of divorce in the real estate business. There's a lot of addiction. There's a lot of people that are shooting from the hip, hoping to make money and riding some really crazy highs and lows. And so part of our mission is to bring a little bit of clarity to the chaos, bring a little bit of consistency to something that's been historically a very chaotic business, with some chaotic fruits. Yeah, there's some people that are really making a ton of money, but what does that come with? If it doesn't come with well-rounded holistic success, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't think you do either. So think about this as one of the cautionary pages to a career in real estate, that the business must fund your life. Otherwise, it fails to meet its purpose. Now, in our world, if you were to sit down and go through a business plan with us, we'd actually look at, if you're an agent, what was your gross income last year? And then what did you actually net? And then if you've got a net income goal for next year, now's a great time to make that. We would work backwards and really chunk that down to say, well, how many units would you need to actually meet that net goal? Once you've defined that, then the question really becomes, who are you going to partner with to help you get there? And if you're considering our team, here's 4 reasons why you would consider joining us. Number 1, low to no expenses. Most agents spend 40 to 90% of their commission, as I said before, on expenses to run their business. And these expenses typically include things like the salaries and technology and marketing, signage, photography, and here's a big one, videography, which we cover for all of our team, even including these podcast experiences like today, lead generation, training, coaching systems. Within Door, powered by Place, your gross income as an agent in our world is your net income. We're managing all the expenses. Second reason why people would join our team is because they're going to do more business. The combination of our training, technology, systems, leads, accountability, coaching, and brand. We're going to give you the tools to outperform the average agent who maybe even has a decade of experience. The truth is that this business is simple but not easy. And having a culture of accountability around the right tasks makes a huge difference. Environment matters. If Place agents are closing 24 to 75 deals in their first calendar year on the team, that is a massive contrast from even experienced agents closing over 10 deals, or the average agent which last year sold 0 homes. We get people there faster by showing them the way to get there, by a tried and true path. And this is perhaps the most important reason people join our team, because they want to have more time. Systems make the ordinary extraordinary. And we have some incredible people, committed staff that drive our systems and processes that give time back to our agents. And it's not just our support staff. It's literally the technology and, in some cases, the artificial intelligence that undergirds our service experiences, that take our agents from having to be James Bond, jack of all trades, doing everything, putting signs up, not door knocking, holding open houses, being on call, answering every phone call that comes through, to actually being leveraged value providers. And of course, opportunity. I would be remiss in not mentioning that beyond our organization at Door being something that was actually built not to just drive agents, but to attract people who wanted to build their own teams, maybe even have their own showing agent working under them, their own administrative assistant, or would want to actually fold their team into our world. We are geared to support not just individual agents, but entire teams and organizations. And the opportunity that comes with that is difficult to understate. I'm not just talking about the ability to go out and open up a mortgage branch or a title and escrow branch or an insurance branch in tandem with your real estate company, but I'm talking about the chance to actually be an owner in something extraordinary. It's worth mentioning that Place is a pre-IPO company with a valuation back in 2019 when they were doing under 100 million in revenue, when it was under 100 teams. They were valued at $1 billion back then. And that stock valuation, I think it was $3.19 that Goldman Sachs bought it in. We get to buy, even still today as Place partners, at a 20% discount with an additional 20% match from Place. And a commitment from the leaders that they're going to do everything that they can as the promise keepers that they are to create a 10x opportunity. And I think it'll be much more than that. So I think when you think about opportunity, we're going to have to talk about Apple, which at one point there was pre-IPO stocks available at Apple at $2 to $3 a share. And when they went public, they were post $30 a share. And now you look at today, plus $300 a share. I think you have to really look at that equation and overlay that on what the opportunity that place is bringing to the table to fully wrap your mind around the gravitas of our chance to buy a pre-IPO stock. Lots to talk about in opportunity. All right, I'm going to buzz through this so I don't lose you guys. What does low to no expenses mean? Well, for our live audience following along, it means all the ingredients to run the restaurant, to build the restaurant. We are restaurateurs. We like to think we're providing this great 5-star experience. Our agents bring people to eat, but ultimately we're covering the salaries, the rents, the technology, the staffing, the systems and the processes, and most importantly, the presentation and marketing of every single listing we are covering for our agents because we believe in not undercutting the spend for our sellers. So many agents are undercutting their commission. And I have to talk about this. We can't talk about expenses without talking about how agents are managing it. Right now, we see two things happening. Luxury brands that are continuing to offer great real estate services at 2.5 to 3.5% of the real estate transaction. In our case, it's 3.25% on the listing, 3% on the buyer side. And what we find is that agents that are undercutting their commission aren't necessarily cutting out of profit. They're cutting out of the money that they're spending on the listings. And they're taking that money that would go towards presenting the property properly and maximizing the dollar, and they're still having to pay out overhead and they're still protecting profit, but they're leaving out the most important elements that actually the sellers need to have be worth the whole package in the first place. So that's why within our organization, our brokerage, we cover these costs for our agents because we want to control the quality of the presentation and make sure that it's never skimped on, even if an agent might be struggling on finances. And we want to protect our agent's income as well. So we're covering technology, we're covering signage, we're covering training and coaching, we're covering all the business systems associated with an agent's success. And because of that, they are going to do more business. I think I mentioned a little bit about how we contrast with the averages, but I want to break down how that actually works. So within our world, in the lead gen model, our expectation is that if an agent wants to close, say, 24 deals or even 48 deals in a year, if they're running our playbooks on the left side of the screen here, I think if you guys are looking at me, if they're connecting with all of you, doing our client events, shout out to all of our clients, by the way, we are going to be announcing some kind of epic appreciation party coming in December that you all be invited to. But we still are ironing out the details, so I cannot say anything more. But it's going to be great. They always have been, and they will keep getting better. We know that if we can get our people to our client events, but more importantly, if you're using our system for open houses, how we actually bring data in and follow up and use AI to connect buyers to homes, you're going to close more deals on this left side of the screen just off of Sphere open houses and prospecting. But the cool thing about Place Partnership is that you've got a business then signing up for the other half of the pie chart here. That means that our agents are getting business actually directly from us as a brokerage. They're getting business directly from us through pass offs, through our ISA team, through our actual listing leads, marketing for their listings. All of our internet advertising is driving business to our agents. And for those clients that are sending us referrals, thank you so much, because that is really the nuts and bolts of this. But it requires all of these elements working together to create those agents that are closing 20, 30, 40 deals in a year. Now, as it relates to having more time, there are literally hundreds of tasks associated with any listing that goes from live to closed. And a grand majority of those can be done for, under $30 an hour. And if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant. So my challenge to you is to think about the real estate business. If you're in this profession, especially if you've been in it for a few years now, if you want to grow, you've got to think about how do you back away from the job based on the dollar per hour value activity. One of the myths that I used to believe was that it had to be me all the time. And after 700 transactions I've managed over the last 11 years, close 700 homes sales I've been a part of. I've learned that what clients want more than me is they want consistency. And if I can't provide that consistency on my own, I'm not actually the best possible solution. Myself plus my team is the best solution. And so subscribing to the team approach ultimately means 75% of the transaction and the tasks associated with it being shared amongst a team rather than all falling on the agent. And it means the client gets a better experience and the agent gets a better experience. So consider that. And of course, last but not least, limitless opportunity. And that comes in two approaches: the leverage model, which is sort of your opportunity to build a team within a team. And why this is so important to me is I would hate for someone to show up in our world, build all of their infrastructure and systems and relationships in through our technology, and then feel like they have to go elsewhere to be able to create their own team. Not here. You can build your team right here on our door. In fact, our brokerage platform is through Side, and that gives us the opportunity to create entire sub brands underneath Door, all still powered by the Place operating system, for you to actually have a brand you can own and have your own name on the door if you want. What growth means to us, what the leverage model means to us, is that we're going to come alongside you, and we're not just going to come alongside building your team, but we're going to help you build your wealth. We're going to connect you to revenue share. We're going to connect you to a stock program that is incredible. You're going to get access to our real estate investment syndication with Door that we've been building. You're going to get access to other opportunities. If you're closing 10 deals a month, you're going to catch the attention of some pretty powerful people in our industry within the Place world. And that is where this game becomes really exciting. And beyond just leverage for wealth building, there's wealth protection. Our agents who are closing 2 deals a month get to have access to full health insurance, dental, vision for them, for their families. And that expands as you go through our growth journey to life insurance, income diversification. Takeaway here: having partners who actually care about your wealth, not just closing the deal. Now, this might look like, I hope this doesn't make your guys' head roll back. I need to zoom this out a little bit. I just realized. Okay, so the opportunity model is, for starters, everyone has access to the basic table stakes, even if they're closing only 0 to 12 deals. But the first big bump up in opportunity happens after 13 closings in a calendar year. You unlock the stock plan and you unlock the opportunity to get revenue share off of anyone you attract to the company. And at 25 plus units, that's where you get access to that subsidized healthcare, which can be of tremendous, thousands of dollars a month in value. It's perhaps the biggest expense I've heard on the Place P&L is the health insurance that they subsidize for our partners and our agents and our staff. Really thankful for you guys, by the way. And there's really only more opportunity the more you want to grow. If you find yourself wanting to launch a mortgage company or a title company in tandem with your real estate branch, you could do that at Door with the proper amount of volume. How cool is that? In summary, what's going to set us apart from other companies? At Door, we're going to help you find your place. We're going to help you find your community. We're going to get you leverage. We're going to get you some of the access to some of the best training and coaching that is literally in existence on the planet. I'm talking about weekly calls that I get to have with legends like Brian Buffini, Chris Torres, Ben Kinney, Debbie DeGroat led our last Friday call for all partners, someone who has 10,000 hours plus in coaching top agents over the last 2 decades, who I've had the joy of getting to work alongside over the last 3 years. It is amazing what happens when so many people come together to build a technology company that they all want to be a part of owning. The exposure that occurs within the Place world is already so clear for me. And then the track record of success. Now, not shown on this slide deck is the additional value that we have within the Side community. We at Door have the unique opportunity of not just being a team that's powered by Place, but also being a team that's brokered through the Side network, which means when I go through these concepts of community, we're literally talking about the fusion of 2 really super powerful real estate networks together. Side community being a group of independently owned brokerages spread out all across the country, boutique brokerages that are, generally speaking, best in class in each of their areas. In California, for example, no one closes more business than the boutique brands powered by Site. So there's my plug for them. And our community just keeps growing. This is not slowing down. This is going to be a nationwide movement. You see, Place will be a household name. And how we help agents with leverage really is all on demand. So we're not talking about just being able to access me, myself, and I, but we've got trainings from people that are, closing 13,000 deals a year. And the technology, I mean, there's not enough I could say about technology. If you've been in the business, you know how annoying it is when you have 1,000 different logins for everything. In our world, it's all things real estate in one place. It's all our marketing done out of one place. And the proof is in the pudding. Track record, like I said, 13,500 homes sold last year within Place team, 6 billion closed volume, and is being done at a 4.9 star rating, 5-star for door. Nice work, team. This company just keeps becoming more and more recognized as a player in the world. Company of the Year, Inman just gave him another award. I mean, this list probably keeps growing. Couldn't fit it on the page here. And of course, compassion means empathy in action, and you can't be a player on the world stage if you're not integrated into the energy of giving. And boy, does Place give. Not only do the partners give, but the organization from the top down is proven to be extremely generous. So fun to be in that wavelength of energy and to be surrounded by people that are totally raising the bar on what I expect of myself and generosity. What does it take to join our team? So let's say you're looking at all this and you're saying, wow, Tim, I love this. I want to be a part of the team that helps me do more business, have low to no expenses, have more opportunity, have more time. What's the price of entry? Well, if you made it this far in the video, then you know that we're not just accepting anybody into our world. Ultimately, to get into door, you've got to be willing to commit to the activities. You've got to commit to learn the knowledge. You've got to understand that we're not looking to be in business with people that don't want to produce or that are just doing this as a hobby. We're looking for producing knowledgeable agents that participate all the time. Specifically, we're looking for leaders, people that are already showing up as leaders in their community, as benevolent, giving people. And I think that it would behoove me not to share that some of the first steps in our world is actually just going back to where we started, getting clarity on your goals, learning about what we've already done as a business. If you haven't watched our YouTube videos and seen how we show up and present our listings, I think it's important that you know how we show up as a team. And in summary, what I would like to share, what I'd like to close with, is a little story. I started in real estate when I was 21 years old. I didn't know anything about real estate. I had a broken back and a herniated disc. Maybe some of you guys have heard the story ad nauseum. I couldn't walk upstairs. I couldn't even really show the first 3 homes that I sold. But because I had a few great mentors that were willing to sow into me and show me the way, I was able to sell 30 homes my first year in real estate. And my second year in real estate, I sold 60 homes. And my third year in real estate, sold like 90 homes. And I kept growing a team. And then I got to closing 160 deals a year in my late 20s consistently, year after year, 2017, 2018, 2019. I was closing over 160 deals a year with my team. And that's when I learned that you can pay too high a price for success because it wasn't sustainable. And I think what I would like to share, if you only take one thing away from what is Place and why would I want to partner with Door, a company, one of many companies that's powered by Place. It's because I think that we have a chance to show the world that real estate doesn't have to cost you, your family, and your health. I think that real estate done right is actually one of the most incredible career paths that I know of in existence. One where you actually get to make a substantial impact in the financial and economic future for folks. You actually get to make a substantial impact into the concept of home and family by literally being a broker of it. So, as challenging and mind numbing and God, gut wrenching at times, this last 10-year, 11-year stretch has been for me in real estate. For the right people that are doing it for the right reasons, I cannot endorse this enough as a career path. If you guys are interested in talking more about what that would look like for you as a new agent, maybe even thinking about getting your license and jumping into the business, or an experienced agent that is finding yourself just a little bit burnt out, a little bit maybe calloused, and have fallen out of love and passion for this business and need a reason to reignite that passion, let's talk. Set up a meeting. Send me a DM. I'd love to connect with you guys. I really appreciate you all. Let me check the comments, see if there's any questions, and I'll check in with our live audience here. Do you guys have any questions before we sign off? Okay, let's hear it. Nothing in the comments right now. Feel free, if you got questions in the comments, post them now. Now we're going to officially go into our Q&A on real estate for the conclusion of our career night. Let's hear it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. So first off, great presentation. But my question is just regarding, we spoke about partnering with Place and how alignment and resonation with the value set and the system is so important. Can you speak to the level of the attributes, individual attributes and lifestyle habits you feel a person should maybe encompass or embody when considering partnering with Place as well?
It's a great question. So we'll go back to our values alignment page. Place's core values we found to be synergistic with ours. They're embedded in this growth acronym: grit, results, only leaders, wealth, teamwork, humility. Among those 6, I can't think of a single one of them that wouldn't that you couldn't start working on right now. So I think that's a phenomenal question. We're looking for gritty people. So let's dissect these one by one. The 10 C's, that's like our 10 commandments, right? These are the rules that we follow along the way. And we felt like the growth acronym was like such a good tandem. Like it requires grit to be candid, right? Like I've got to get in the weeds to keep it real with somebody. Grit, you know who gritty people are? People that do jujitsu. Those are gritty people. People that wrestle. Wrestlers, when I was running a painting business, I would look for wrestlers because they were the hardest workers. People that aren't afraid to work a long day. Now, obviously, our business plans are geared around trying to create that balance, that 40-hour work week, but there is a job behind the job when you're starting a new career, which is the education while you're doing the work. So anyone who's looking to start into real estate, there's this like 6-month crucible that you have to accept. That's going to be some long nights, right? Some job, you do your day job and you do your night job. We have an agent on our team right now who works 40 hours a week. And then after hours, he's running through his launch program right now, which is another 40-hour a week commitment. He can't ditch the 40-hour a week job until he gets enough income through real estate. That means he better be really freaking gritty. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And he is. Aaron Clement, shout out to Aaron Clement because he's a freaking stud. Grit shows up in my ability to receive critical feedback. It requires gritty emotional intelligence. Grit shows up in my ability to get to the end of the day when I'm super tired and then do more work, right? Like a lot of the time tonight, I'll probably be checking email late. Like I'm in a gritty season right now. Grit is required when the market gets tricky and suddenly 40 hours a week would have made me X amount of income, but now to make that same amount of income, I've got to be way more disciplined in that 40 hours a week, or I've got to work more hours. I would say grit on the front end, and then the back end, humility. I know that this business can be so inspiring in some moments and also so humbling in others. I've been doing this for what feels to be longer than 11 years. And I still learn something new every day. Learn something new working with people, and I learned something new about working with myself. And humility and teamwork, I think, kind of go together. But if you're not if you're not a team player, then the team approach to real estate will be tricky because for a team to be truly synergistic, which is the idea that 1 + 1 would equal more than one, it requires people that are actually investing in a relationship with each other, that are investing in communication and time with each other. Like team doesn't just happen. Like team is an avenue that you make the necessary investment into to create that semblance of a team. For us, that looks like we're engaging in a Slack channel daily with each other. In our world, we post on Slack our intentions basically every day. What are we going to get done? How did we do them? And not because we're trying to babysit ourselves or anyone else, but because we realize we've got to invest into teams with daily measurables. Otherwise, team doesn't exist. And so, if you think about anything you're doing right now, and you can ask yourself, how can I make this more of a team sport? If I'm in an organization and we've got about all these solo producers, whether it be at my day job, like teamwork is a habit. The commitment to collaboration is a value, and I think that's a phenomenal question. What could you do now? Think about where grit could show up in your world. Think about where you might be able to create more results with the time you're already spending. Think about what it would look like to be a 360-degree leader in your current place of work. God, I could talk a whole seminar on that. That's a good book by John Maxwell, by the way, 360-degree leader. You get to lead up the chain of command. You get to lead to your peers. You get to lead down the chain of command. Leadership is not position. It's proximity and it's poise. Someone should cross stitch that on a pillow or put that down on like a one-liner. Just full of good one-liners today, huh? Wealth has to matter to you if you wanted to get in real estate. Protecting other people's wealth, like tracking your net worth. That's a good habit to get into right now. Looking at what's all your debts, what's your income, what's your debt, and don't just look at cash flow and what's the paycheck you're making every month, but get into the habit of actually watching your net worth grow, which is your assets minus your liabilities. Because that's literally what we do in real estate is we help people grow their net worth. Sometimes we grow their cash flow. Sometimes we shrink their cash flow for the sake of growing their net worth. So getting in the idea that wealth is really all about net worth building and network building. I'll end with that. The last thing I would challenge anyone to do, unless you had any other questions. So last thing I'm going to challenge anyone to do is realize that this is a relationship-based business. Your network is your net worth. So who you're connected with, who knows you, likes you, and trusts you, that is your net worth as it relates to the real estate profession. So consider that. Anyone in our world, they want to jump on, you got to bring 200 contacts to the table. Sphere. People that ideally know you, like you, and trust you, but at least will know your name when you call them. And anyone who joins our world, the first thing that they do in the first month is to call all 200 of those people and ask them, how can I be of service? You got any real estate goals? Do you know anyone you're working with? And looks like Facebook's already starting to boot us off. So we're at the top of the hour. Hey, everyone, I appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far and you want to have further conversation about opportunities in real estate, about a career in real estate, I would love to chat with you. We shall talk soon. Peace out, everybody.